Today morning I woke up with a news of a teenager committing suicide in Bombay. From the suicide notes that was recovered, it was found that he was badly depressed. He did consume alcohol, did had cigarette, and in the morning he made the video on Facebook while committing suicide. This is a terrible problem that humanity is currently facing. First of all, there is no single person on this earth who has never experienced depression. At one or the other point of time, every one of us do enter that state of mind. So it is not something unknown to us. It is not something that we have to see from the perspective of others. At one or the other point, everyone gets depressed. But there are people who take extreme steps like the person did. There are people who take extreme steps in that state of depression. This is a serious problem. Now, all of a sudden, somebody feels that his life is useless. He is no more used to society or to himself or to the family, and he feels like ending his life. The guy was studying in engineering, third year. So the first misconclusion that everyone will draw, that these are the study pressures. Obviously, the engineering is not a simple vocation. One has to study hard. That's one thing. But is it the study pressure that really did cause this kind of depression? So that's the first misconclusion that everyone is going to draw. The second misconclusion that nobody is going to draw is nobody is going to blame it on alcohol. Never. Somehow this alcohol thing has got so much support from government, from the people who consume it, and from all the sections of society, right from the businessman to the government to the common people. It is in the interest of everyone, but rarely anybody realizes the kind of harm that it is doing on the humanity. Like the case here. Do you have a gut feeling that if this person had not had the alcohol, he might not have considered doing suicide? Of course, one cannot put all the 100% blame on alcohol, because there are people who consume alcohol and they live their life merrily. They consume it every evening, and their whole day is a bliss. I mean, they live for the day just because they just want to enjoy their evenings with alcohol. But there are people for whom it is like a poison. There are people for whom alcohol can lead into a kind of the vicious circle of depression. They get depressed, they drink alcohol, they get even more depressed, and then the cycle just continues. And sometimes they even have drugs or other hallucinating things. It is important to identify for whom this alcohol thing is not going to work, for whom this can cause to depression. Okay, these are the people who are generally prone to depression. Generally, okay, even without alcohol also, they are prone to depression. But because of alcohol, they tend to act on the first thought that comes to your mind, the first thought that comes in their mind. This was about sustenance of depression. Where is the source of depression? Depression comes from the feeling that there is nothing more to be done in this life. There is nothing more to be known in this life. Imagine the amount of mass media consumption that we are doing continuously. It is, it is the online world, the offline world. We are just flooded with the mass information. I think never before in the history of mankind so much information has been created, and it goes on getting created on various channels, online and offline. And the main result, the main outcome of this flooding of mass media is that by the time the teenager is about 14, 15, he would have knowledge of practically everything. There will not be anything that this person would want to know. There would not be anything that for which he'll feel excited about. You'll find a kind of boredom on his face. If you just meet any teenager nowadays, 14, 15 age, you'll not feel him as excited as you used to be in your 14, in your teenage. The reason for this is that mass consumption of media. There is nothing very exciting. There is nothing out there in the world that he feels exciting. Now what you can do about it? You cannot change your time and go back 50 years back. You cannot overnight just stop the alcohol from the society. But you have to fight the depression. You have to save your kid from this vicious cycle. So one thing that every parent should do is to inculcate the excitement for everything that is very common and very straightforward. You will create excitement for that. As far as possible, try to reduce the exposure of mass media to your kids. Let him do something practically, by hand, by getting involved really. As far as possible, because it is not completely possible to just eliminate everything. Now, what I mean by creating a sense of excitement in everything we do. Sense of excitement is like there is a thing that has to be known in this area. It is not something that everything is known. Even if you are teaching, even if you are telling your son, daughter, how the digestion system works, then tell him the complete premises, and then give the area of suspense. That these are the areas that are still to be known. That the person, so that there is a fire, there is a spark of excitement related to that area that is there in his mind. So that spark you have to create, so that that excitement gives him a constant endeavor to work in that area. Now, obviously, not everyone will be interested in digestion, so you have to identify the particular area that actually excites your kid. Okay, it could be something for engineering or some kind of depending on the acumen of your child, or the overall disposition of your kid on a particular area. You have to decide on which area you have to create that excitement. And second thing is, try to find out if your child is prone to depression. There are astrological rules, there are astrological ways to identify when a person is getting depressed or not, okay, whether he has that tendency. But being a parent, you can just observe your kid, and you can realize whether he's prone to depression or not. The process of depression is very straightforward. Okay. Now let me tell you one thing. The what astrology is right now, it was not how it was meant to be. Using astrology, you can find out the characteristics of the person, like this one quality, whether he is prone to depression or not, you can find out using astrology. It was not meant to be a predictive science like when will you be millionaire or when you will earn billions of money or you perform this remedy and you'll become the god or something. No. This was only to identify the main characteristics of yourself, the main constitutions of your body. Like in Ayurveda, you have three dosh, Vata, Pitta and Kapha. Using these three, using different combinations of these three dosh, the body is constituted. The body is composed of these three doshas, and depending on the varying nature of these doshas, you get various diseases and various mental dispositions. Vata is especially the air element, Saturn. That air element, if it is imbalanced, then you tend to get into depression. So, if you identify that your child is prone to depression, then the first thing that you can do is to alter the diet in such a way that that vata is balanced. There are several websites that will show you how to reduce vata or how to balance vata dosh in the child and the person. Okay, so you can just Google it and you'll find there are several. Let me give you just some of the examples. Like if somebody is depressed and he goes on eating salads, then the vata is going to further imbalance and he'll go further into depression. So such person should not consume a lot of salads. Okay, instead he should take some oily food. Okay, so that oily food results in a bit of contentment from the food perspective, and that contentment results in the curing the depression. Similarly, having um, having sweet food results in pacifying vata. And for those of others who are interested in astrology, trying to find out the combination for depression, then just look for moon in the Navamans and see how many planets are aspecting it or how many planets are within. If Saturn and Moon are together in the Navamans, then the person is sure to have depression. If there is an aspect, then during the dasha of that planet, the person will go into depression. But that will be temporary. If it is together with Moon in the Navamans, then the person will have that kind of disposition to be depressed, kind of negative feeling always. Okay. If Mars is also there, it then there is an element of violence also in it. So Saturn, Mars, Moon, Rahu, these planets when they are together with Moon in the Navamans, then the person will have this kind of tendencies. So if he has this kind of tendencies, then what to do? Obviously, you cannot change the chart, and no, none of the pujas, none of the remedies can really help here. Only way out here is to mold your child towards spirituality. Okay. See, Saturn, Mars, these planets, they will create problem when you try to view this world materialistically. Okay. Because these are the planets, even Rahu aspect. When Rahu aspect is there or Rahu is with Moon, then it will try to expand your mind. It will try to uh, give a kind of going out of bound with respect to your mind. Okay, like searching for something beyond. So that quest will be given by Rahu. So if the person is materialistically inclined, then he'll get into drugs or he'll get into alcohol, cigarettes, and all these things to expand your mind. Okay, LSD and drugs and these things they'll use to expand their mind. But if the person is spiritual, he'll get into the meditation, he'll get into the kind of yogas to expand his mind. So that is the way of channelizing this energy. So try to inculcate spirituality into your child if you see such combination in their chart. Okay. So these all have been the basis of astrology in the past, not the predictive science.